TikTok pasta.
Welcome to Coffee and Candor. This is Amber.
Her name is Little Wheezy. This is Chris.
Little Wheezy. Brandy.
Your name is Little Feta.
No, man, they're making this TikTok pasta. I know you can't have pasta, but you take you take like the cherry tomatoes, and you put them in a dish, and you pour olive oil and garlic and all that over it, and you put a block of feta cheese in the middle, and then you put it in the oven for like 20 minutes.
Oh shit!
And then stir it up, and by that time the olive oil and the feta has made a sauce, and you put pasta in it, and it's like it just looks really good. I'm gonna try
that. Sounds delightful.
It does. Like a caprese pasta kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, Little Wheezy, what you got? I got the asthma. I ain't got much time for that.
I think it's the moonshine. It's messing me up.
You only had like a sip.
It was that peach.
You gave me half a coffee cup.
Okay, yeah.
Of course, I split that with Brandy, but we're babysitting our grandpup, so you're gonna hear him.
Yeah,
he's a butt nuts.
He's a turd.
Why is he angry?
Oh, his fucking crate is closed, and he wanted to get in there.
Oh, he's like, bitch, I want to go to bed.
Well, no, I don't think that's it. But
this poor old man in Missouri, he was like in his 60s. He died in his car in a detached garage. For months, he had gone unnoticed by authorities because thieves had noticed him. They'd go in, ransack the house. They'd tell some other thief buddies. He's just had thieves going in and out of his house for weeks.
Oh, that's sad.
Stole cars, guns, money.
That's sad.
That's disgusting.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, you just bad nasty, and that the karmic load of that.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty significant.
You won't get a butt fucking comeuppance on that one.
Yeah, and they fucking deserve it, too.
Oh, yeah, they totally will deserve what they get. That's sad.
What else you got?
I'm trying to... Do you not have anything? I'm trying to read through my articles to refresh.
No, I don't. We used all of mine.
We had 2.
Yeah, and we used them both.
So apparently there was a woman found here in Arkansas somewhere. She was 53. She was from, I believe, Oklahoma. She was found in a freezer in the Arkansas woods.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Her roommate, in April of last year, told people her roommate had gone missing, and she told people that she was scared, terrified of COVID-19. She was having symptoms, and she just wanted to get away. She didn't want to have to deal with having to go in the hospital and be put on a respirator. That's what she told everybody.
Yeah.
In reality, she had just, hacked her up and put her in a freezer and then dumped her in Arkansas.
Wow, okay.
Oh, so when you said she was found dead in a freezer, I was expecting not...
Like a walk-in freezer.
Yeah, not in pieces.
Yeah.
I think she said...
No, I remember you telling me
murder
about
and desecration of human corpse. I'm pretty... Yeah.
Jeez.
Dismembered remains of Galloway, 53, were found in a freezer stashed in Arkansas woods.
Shit balls.
Okay, I've got something.
Okay.
So, I was reading this article about this guy, and he's talking about how his online reputation was just completely decimated. And at first they thought it was just like a weird one-off, but then it started happening to family, friends, and just like this web, and it just spreads out, and it's just crazy, and it goes back 30 years this person's been fucking them over.
Wow.
So,
what?
yeah. So this guy, his name is Guy Babcock, and he lives in England. And he said in September of 2018...
The country, not the city.
Yeah, no,
okay.
Overseas. He and his wife had just gotten home, and where they live is outside Oxford.
Okay.
And he hadn't even gotten in the house good and gotten his coat off when the phone rang. And his dad was on the phone, and he was just frantic. And his dad was like, look, son, I don't want to upset you, but there's some really bad stuff about you on the internet. And so he's like... Okay. And so apparently his dad, who was 86 at the time, had a social club, where he'd go to the pub and drink members of the club had seen it on the internet and been like, we need to talk to you. Somebody's saying this stuff about your son. And I think they knew him enough to know that it was slander, but,
right.
it really got, because they were saying that this guy's the guy Babcock is a software engineer.
Okay. So
he said, all right, I'll look into it, Dad. So he gets off the phone and Googles himself. There were all, like when you Google a name, sometimes you get weird shit, and then everything was talking about him being a pedophile, a thief, a fraudster.
Oh, it sounds to me like some motherfucker would be getting sued.
Oh,
a lot.
You just don't even know. Listed his employer and his location and contact details.
Oh my God.
Now, first of all, they were like, that was terrifying, because there are people who go after pedophiles, and like, vigilante kind of shit.
Yeah.
So he was like, we were freaking out. So then they kept doing a Google image search by his name, and like his Facebook profile pictures and all his, like, from LinkedIn, because again, a software developer. Right. So he was on all that. Had pedophile scrawled across him in red, and he's like, what? And they had doctored images from Pinterest, and because Google's algorithms like Pinterest, the Pinterest shit was right up front and center. So I mean, it was just all showing up, and like this, he's like, I was in complete shock. Who would do this to me? Like, he's like, I'm a software engineer. I don't do like, like, I don't make enemies or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he's like, who could be somebody? Then he Googled his brother's name. It was the same. His brother had been completely trashed. He tried his wife. Same. His sister. Same. His brother-in-law. Same. His teenage nephew.
Oh my God.
His cousin. His aunt. The men had all been branded as child molesters and pedophiles. The women, they were saying that they were thieves and scammers and con artists. The only person in their immediate family who had been spared was the 8-year-old son. That's not important. I think the person doing it didn't know about the 8-year-old son.
Right.
Maybe. Anyway, and so they're like, what the fuck? And so, like, everybody knows that people have been smearing people as long as there have been communities.
Yeah.
But the problem is, like, with the internet, it's kind of like anything else, like almost like the QAnon thing. With the internet, things can travel so fast.
Yeah, but there's still laws, and there's
no, I'm not saying that. But the thing is, it's hard when you get across jurisdictions and shit like that. What's the thing that a lie can get around the world while the truth's tying its shoes? Mm-hmm. And the internet just made that easier.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so he got an attorney, of course, and they started digging into theirs, and they found places like a site called Ripoff Report that's supposed to be, and there were more of them with different names, but they masquerade as, like, what's that one, like, where if you're looking to hire somebody for a honeydew job, you know what I'm talking about?
Like Angie's List?
Yeah, yeah. They present themselves like that, as places where you can get verified reviews on people, but they're not. Guess what they are? They're places where people can put just any unsubstantiated rumor that they want to, and guess what you have to do to get them removed?
Pay
$2,000 to $4,000. Most people wouldn't have $2,000 to $4,000 to get that shit off the internet, and it's like ransom,
That's exactly what it's extortion.
Yeah, and
it's what, blackmail.
Yeah, that like Ripoff Report offers arbitration services and to get rid of substantially false information. And the guy said, that sounds like extortion to me, which of course it is. Mm-hmm. Turns out that there are hundreds of sites like this. She's a Home Wrecker, Cheater Bot, Deadbeats Exposed, that like there's no... Anybody can put anything in without any grounds, and the person who's been slandered has to pay to get it gone. They all note on their site a Federal Communications Decency Act that I think this is from, because these people are in England. if someone posts false information about you on the ripoff report, the CDA prevents you from holding us liable for the statements which others have written. You can always sue the author if you want, but you can't sue us just because we provide a forum. But where the illegality comes in is you saying, basically, you got to pay a ransom demand to get it off. That's fucked up. So, you know, I mean... Like,
no, because the way... Because owning a social media platform, I'm actually covered under... Section 230 of the federal decency thing, and the thing is, I don't think they're covered under that because they are probably moderating and moderating the shit that goes on there, which makes them a publisher, not a platform, and that does not waive their liability.
Well, he said, like, it, you know, they were working on trying to get it, but it like, really hurt the whole family because, like, especially the younger males who were trying to start their careers.
Right.
Because, you know, everybody Googles you before you get an interview or something like that anymore. And, you know, they couldn't get jobs. They couldn't get... 2 weeks after Mr. Babcock found the post, somebody else in their town called and said, "Hey, I saw these things posted about you, and, you know, I don't believe them, but they're everywhere." Right. And they were done on reviews. Apparently, one of the family members owned like an ice cream shop, and they were in the reviews on the ice cream shop.
Oh my God!
Yeah. And of course, again, the family was afraid because it's like, you know, vigilantes and shit like that.
And let me guess, it was all done anonymously.
So he
like a fucking punk.
He and his members of his family started reporting it to the police where they live. And some of the family was in Canada, some were in England. The British authorities took them pretty seriously because there's a 1988 law prohibiting communications that intentionally cause distress. So this officer locally said, okay, you need to document everything you can, pull it from every source, and give us as much information so that, you know, maybe there'll be in one of those somebody got sloppy and left a clue, you know.
I would have been like, isn't that your job?
Right.
Yeah, no shit.
So...
Well, but as a software engineer...
He could do that. Yeah. And so apparently his brother was also in software. And so his brother-in-law, who lived in Canada... But he started pulling it from everything around there, and they eventually compiled a 100-page document.
Fuck.
With all these links. And in 2018, he was scrolling through the items, just you know how you go through things when you're, and he saw where somebody called him a former janitor masquerading as an IT consultant, and this thing had a picture attached. And he's like, I got chills because he recognized the picture. It was somebody that had worked. His family also had a real estate company.
Okay.
This woman had worked for them in 1990. And she had been like a real star seller, but apparently she just went off the rails. She started having like these... like family issues, like, I don't know, like her family, somebody was like insane and got committed. And,
sounded like it was her.
Well, it should have been her, but it wasn't. But her whole life just went off the rails, and so she started like really making a lot of mistakes and fucking up and just being a real liability. So eventually, they worked with her, but eventually they let her go.
Right.
So she's been holding a grudge for 30 years and planning this stuff all over. And so that, anyway, they recognize, and they're like, oh my God, we haven't seen her in 30 years. And he said, but then he started thinking about it, and it all started to fall into place because in 1999, his mother died, and they got anonymous, vulgar letters celebrating her death.
Oh.
Wow.
Like, that's... my God. Then a neighbor got a typed letter anonymously saying that Mr. Babcock's father had been seen roaming the neighborhood late at night, masturbating in the bushes. And again, on those, they thought that it was this lady because that was close enough to the time that they remembered her.
Right.
But she denied it, and they could never prove it, and they forgot about it. So decades later, she's still harboring this grudge. So, turns out, as they dig deeper, they find out that she has... I think she's moved to America. And there's Canadian. So there's a lawyer that this all started happening to her in Canada. Well, they get to digging. Sure enough, she's had a run-in with this lady. This lady had owned